Welcome to Weekly ReViu. I'm Christy Khan. Based on the Census and Statistics Department's figures, there are more than 534,000 people with disabilities living in Hong Kong as of 2020, making up 7.1% of the city's population. The unemployment rate for individuals aged 15 to 64 with disabilities stood at approximately 11% during this period. In recent years, the government has introduced various subsidies and measures to encourage employers to hire people with disabilities. But are these efforts enough? In this episode, we are joined by Walter Choi, co-founder and CEO of CareER, an NGO dedicated to supporting employment for individuals with disabilities. Walter will share insights on empowering this community and creating a barrier-free workforce in Hong Kong. Thanks for joining us, Walter.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Walter, let's start with the basics. Could you tell us a bit more CareER and what it is and what inspired you to establish this NGO in Hong Kong?
Sure. So CareER has been founded in 2014. It is a registered charity in Hong Kong. We are focusing on supporting people who have higher education with disabilities. And then we support them on various empowering programs to bring them into the workplace, into white collars and professional jobs. So at the same time, we also support our employers because employers also need to get ready on their inclusive recruitment journey so that our members could be able to be integrated and also being a contributing members into the workplace. So actually myself, why I would inspire to found the organization because first of all, I'm a person with visually impaired. Since I was born, I was having around 30% eyesight, but now I have zero eyesight. So I also graduated from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. And then I realized back in time, in 2011, it was very hard to find a permanent and contributing jobs as a higher educated people with disabilities. So that's why in that moment, after I secured myself into human resources career, I quit my full-time jobs and want to help our peers because we believe people with disabilities in higher education, we need to be seen and also our talents need to be contributing into the society.
CareER has been around since 2014. How many successful job matches have you facilitated so far?
So actually since 2014, I quit my full-time jobs in 2015. But actually, every year we already reach around 70 to 80 job placement already. So all the jobs are actually, for example, we have lawyers with mobility impairments. We have HR professions on wheelchair. We also have cybersecurity experts with autism and people who have mental illness also working in the data analysis as well. So people with disabilities also working in like multinational companies, local conglomerates, like major land developers, and also people who are also working in social enterprise, SME, and local leading corporations as well.
And how would you describe the trends you have seen over time? And then are there more enterprises willing to hire people with disabilities?
So to be honest, I think diversity, equality, and inclusions, and then one of the topics is disability inclusion. Back in times, decades ago, actually it's more multinational companies going into these topics and willing to consider higher educated graduates with disabilities into the workplace. But actually, after 5 years of work, I would say it's like slightly before the COVID, there's much more local firms are stepping into this talents pool because we realize we're moving these topics more and more from a charitable topics to a business topics. It is not just because actually you are helping or business are helping a minority groups of people, but actually we are a true talents and then we are ready to be integrated into the workplace. So we realized actually in these few years, and then we realized from banking industry at the beginning, financial institutions, and now we have much more different variety of industry, including like entertainment industry, marketing, like we have couples 4As, advertising companies also hiring, and we also have engineering and property management and various different industry also hiring our members as well.
But when you are assessing a candidate with disabilities, how do you figure out if they are the right fit for a specific position?
Actually, since we found we have a very robust model So in terms of our CareER candidates, we call them CareER members most of the time. So we actually serve like a peer support network. We support them into the workplace with our alumni support, job skills, and various support as well. So we assess a candidate including their job readiness, job searching skills. But second thing is we realize disability acceptance is very important. While our teams, actually half of our staff are people with disabilities from higher education as well, also dedicated to support our peers. So that part is our very important uniqueness. So actually that's why actually in 2021 we also get the first time Zero Project United Nations recognitions. And then while we actually got the second times in Zero Projects Award in 2025, which is related to our employers' inclusive readiness trainings for corporates.
But what would you say are the main challenges you face during the job matching process, and how do you tackle those challenges?
So I would say actually a lot of people would think about like if we have enough employers and those kind of situations. But I think a lot of people would just stay in the levels of awareness. But actually we have the know-how developed in CareER to bring in more new employers into this. And then we need to break down into two very important elements. One is the willingness to hire. And the second thing is the readiness to hire. So a lot of the situations, employers would think about, wow, yeah, it's good. It's a very talented group of people, and then why not just give us a few candidates? But first of all, we need to assess their readiness because, for example, if their facilities and online recruitment portal or the channels are accessible. The second thing is, do they have leadership commitment? And then do they have a understanding about basic reasonable accommodations? We are not asking for anything special or advantaged to people with disabilities, but actually we need to have some reasonable accommodation. For example, we are not using a phone interviews for hearing impaired. We are not using like a visual test for people who are visually impaired. Those are the very reasonable accommodation. But a lot of the companies would confuse between the fairness and equity, which actually people with disabilities, we just use different tools and different methods to achieve the same thing with good quality. So I think that is the very important thing. So actually, since 2021, we started to have a very scientific and quantitative model to support or nurture more inclusive employers. So we call it CareER Disability Inclusion Index. We researched more than 10 major stock exchange, as well as more than 100 literature about how to help and support and nurture an inclusive employers along the way. So we now having 8 sections plus 1, and also is coming from the assessments and support from leadership commitment on inclusive hiring, HR, facilities, both online, offline, talking about universal design levels for product and services, and also diversity procurement as well. So that actually we can be able to prove or support the strategies for inclusive hiring or the level of inclusiveness.
So, as you mentioned, it's like this year, CareER has been recognized with the prestigious Zero Project Award. And can you briefly talk about how does it feel to receive such a global honor for the second time?
So first of all, Zero Project is a very prestigious award affiliated with the United Nations. Since 2008, actually Hong Kong followed China. Ratified the Convention for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, CRPD. So at the same time, in 2008, Zero Project started to establish, and then it is a project recognized by United Nations, partnered with United Nations as well, and then to promote the Convention for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. It will rotate 4 topics, including like inclusive employment, education, accessibilities, and independent living. So how we achieve that, it actually is a very robust and challenged process, because we started with a total of 522 projects from 90 countries. And then eventually we are one of the awardees from 77 awards winners with 45 countries. So along that journey, I think the most important thing is we always look at how we can achieve our very important missions is bringing our members into the workplace. So we always look at, for example, global practices and then innovative ideas and practices around the globe and how to customize that into Hong Kong. And at the same time, we engage with our corporate partners and also people with disabilities into the process to develop our Disability Inclusion Index. So we also partner with consultants, academia to make our framework is a robust one and validated one. So I think that is the very important process that make us stand out from around the globe.
Here comes my last question, Walter. And I know CareER celebrates its 10th anniversary this year. And what are your plans for scaling up operations in the future? And could you share some of the KPIs you have set to achieve your goals?
So first of all, I really want to appeal the corporate sector. Actually, we need your participations into inclusive hirings. So it's for you to actually boost your business for everyone's and every walks of life on the streets. So actually, we want to have more data-driven model. So we have two things. One is to expand the deepness of our models. We need to have more content creations about the knowledge of disability inclusion. We need to drive from the topics from awareness to know-how. But the other side is actually we need to have more different models and even those widening our models to be able to cover more local firms and SME so that actually our members could be able to reach out to more different employment opportunities. And on the other side, for CareER members, we also need to enhance our trainings and also the well-being support for people with disabilities going into the workplace, under this fluctuating economy, and everyone is actually need to improve ourselves and taking care of our own well-being as well. So I think we need to have a lot of work still ahead of us. So I'm looking forward to actually the new challenge and more support on this topic.
Thanks for your insights, Walter.
Thank you very much.
Stay with us. See you after the break.